Hello, I'm Elijah Wood. I'm at Fax in Ghent, and I have some questions from y'all. If music as we know it was existing in the universe of Tolkien, what would Frodo's favorite songs be? I don't know. He'd probably be a fan of trying to think of music that would apply in the Shire. I think of old English folk music. I think of bands like the Incredible String Band or Pentangle, perhaps. I think he'd be into Pentangle. And then, I don't know, maybe Led Zeppelin, which has a very, very strong connection to Tolkien. Which role made you the happiest, most fulfilled with your acting career? There's, separating how a film turns out versus the experience of making it, because sometimes those things are different. One of my favorite experiences making a movie was a film called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which happens to also be one of my favorite movies just in terms of how it all turned out. It's directed by a guy called Macon Blair. He wrote it as well. It was just joyous. We made this movie over a spring in Portland, Oregon. I'd never been to Portland before, with an incredible cast. Melanie Linsky was the lead of the film. We just had a blast. The filmmaking, the story is really funny, but it also has these really, intense genre elements. Sort of all the it comprises all the things that I love about movies in one thing. So that would be one of my favorites. What was the most fun scene to film, and which was the hardest? I'm assuming this can apply to anything. The most fun scene, I'm assuming you mean Lord of the Rings, so I'm going to go with that. Most fun scene to film. I don't know, there were... I'd say it'd be something in... a location that was really extraordinary, like getting to fly to the top of a mountain in a helicopter to shoot in a snowy mountain was really fun. And unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. So that really stands out. Filming in Bag End, filming in Hobbiton, that was a place that they really built over the course of a year to make it look like it had been there forever. That thing where you didn't even have to suspend your disbelief, it just was real, was really extraordinary. And the hardest scenes to film were always the kind of most emotionally complex or physically demanding. I would say, the scenes where Frodo is really burdened by the ring and kind of ceases to carry his innocence anymore. Those sort of scenes on Mount Doom were really difficult and I think we put a fair amount of pressure on myself to make those come to life in a way that was true to what he was experiencing, because it was so critical. Who is your favorite Lord of the Rings character? I'm curious whether the answer might surprise me. I would say probably Gollum, and that goes back to reading The Hobbit for the first time. The Riddles in the Dark chapter was my favorite reading that book. The mystery of that character, the sort of tete-a-tete between Gollum and Bilbo, and of course this very special ring that he encounters that you don't understand in that context, sort of its significance to the greater story of Middle-earth then, and it's all revealed, of course, in Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I love Gollum. I love the duality of the character. I love how there's an innocent hobbit still in there that's sort of battling with the darker aspects of what he's become. It's a very special character, and the way that Andy Serkis brought him to life is extraordinary and legendary. What's the most awkward thing that ever happened to you on any set? The most awkward thing? Most awkward? I don't know that I've ever had anything truly awkward. I did fart on screen, but it was funny, not awkward. What have I stolen from movie sets? Damn it, Glinda. I haven't stolen anything. I did sort of ask to take a map from Bag End. So there's a map that is from The Hobbit with Smaug. So it's very famous. If you have The Hobbit, you know what that map is. I have that map at home, which is really special. Do you wear wigs? Do you wear wigs? Have you worn wigs? Will you wear wigs? Do you wear wigs? And what do you enjoy in meeting your fans from Lord of the Rings still to this day? So I do wear wigs. Well, at least I have worn wigs, and I will wear wigs again. I wore wigs in Lord of the Rings, and I wore wigs or a wig in a movie that's coming out this year called The Toxic Avenger. And yeah, listen, I love meeting fans of Lord of the Rings. We're all connected to the same thing. I got to experience the making of these films, but we're all connected because of our sort of mutual love of these stories and these characters. So I feel connected to the fans too, because of this thing that's so much even bigger than I or any of the parts that comprise to make it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's representative of such an extraordinary time in my life, and so getting to meet people who are also fans of it, I understand what that comes from, and it's easy to engage with people who and their fandom of it, because again, it represents such an extraordinary time in my life, and it's sort of easy to talk about, I guess. I don't know if that answers the question.